Awesome crew. Yeah, we're actually early, Ian says, 3:28. Give a hand to the fine crew led by Rob. All of you guys, fantastic job getting it. As you can see, there's quite a few awards. So anyway, let's dive into it. The first thing we want to do is to talk a little bit about the move-out procedure. So let's get the business out of the way first. Ian's going to cover it because he talks a lot faster and more clear than me.
I see.
Hey guys. First of all,
you can give this guy a hand. He busts his ass.
I just show up and look good. If you don't already, everybody take out your phone, find me on Facebook or YouTube, Ian Ashton, Dr. Ian Ashton, and go subscribe or follow me. All right. Yeah, shameless. Oh yeah, second thing I've got, however many stickers this is with B5 Hemi B-body convertible and the MCACN logo, we've got some of those. I'll put them over there if you want one to help yourself. But anyway, so move out. How many people have ever been through a MCACN move out? Like, raise your hand. All right. A lot of people have, a lot of people haven't. Do not move your car. Do not start your car until the door is open. We will make overhead announcements saying that it's okay. It's a building thing and a liability thing. We don't want anybody to get hurt. We want to continue to be able to do the show. So the police have, every year they let us know, and this year is no different. Anybody starting their car before the announcement is subject to a pretty hefty ticket, and we don't want that. So there's going to be a mass of people, I assume, that are going to drive out once that door opens. Be patient, wait your turn, it'll go smooth. Move out, 2 hours, 3 hours. Move in, we're still working on move in. So just wait your turn, listen to the people with the radio, or I mean with the jackets on and stuff, and it'll all happen. But the big thing is, please don't start moving cars or start anything. What we found in years past is if somebody starts a car at whatever, 5:30, and we don't have the okay, then this guy starts and this and this, and it's a chain reaction. So follow the directions that we got, and it'll all go smooth and wonderful. Thank you guys for coming out. Yeah, you need to go to the staging lot before you can get into the building. So ideally, it's beautiful out. Drive on out if you want, load outside, that's your easy button. But if you do want to bring a trailer in, what we do is everybody that is going to drive out, drives out. We do not open the door to bring vehicles in until that whole tidal wave of vehicles is out of the building. So you've got, if you're going to bring a trailer in, you've got some time. Go to dinner, come back later, and it's a heck of a lot easier. If you're going to drive out, as soon as we give that cue, you can hop in. I do, sorry, and I'm going way longer, but if you have a really loud car, just wait till you have a clear shot. Sitting there and idling, I love it. It sounds awesome. When 300 of you do it, it gets old. So, thank you. Have fun. Oh, one last thing. Last year got a little bit rowdy outside. There is a police presence inside the building, outside the building. Please don't do burnouts or hole shots or whatever. You'll get caught. Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Like, I get a lot of views on YouTube from it, right? But I don't want anybody to get in trouble, and you will.
So in other words, there's a zero, and we do mean zero tolerance panel. If you do that, you will be spending the night in jail. So, not to be negative,
Yeah.
but that's a fact.
And probably you're going to make the list of the not welcome back. So.
Exactly. So,
unfortunately, like we said.
Looking for my friend Bruce Aronson. Bruce Aronson, where are you? And look at that, Elvis is in the building. So Bruce, I'm going to hand you this mic. Tell us what you are doing, what you've been doing, and somebody's going to go home with a pretty cool deal here. A Louis Vuitton bag. So here, come here, Bruce. We got to do this fast because we got 10,000 awards to give out. So,
Well, the first thing I want to do is thank Bob and Vicki and Ian and everyone connected with the MCACN show. I've been here for, I think, 11 years, and Bob and Vicki and Ian are absolutely best friends of mine. And I thank them so much for allowing us to raise money for breast cancer awareness, and the important thing is for a cure for breast cancer. All the money that we've collected is going to the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston and to Dr. Nancy Lynn. And sadly, what brought me to this position and Bob's kindness toward me was the death of my daughter Leslie at 36 years old, a distinguished, prominent attorney in Chicago. We had so much fun. She even came out here a couple times, and we were best friends. With regard to the drawing, I'm going to have Elvis draw the winning ticket. And thank you to all who participated and made donations to this. I can't thank you enough. All the proceeds will go to the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Okay, the winning ticket is
I got this. It is last name Russell, first name Kristen. Are you here? Christina, where are you? Are you here?
Christina Russell, are you with us here? I know that they're over on the left side of the building.
We've got a 630 number.
Okay, we know she is in the building, so we won't wait. We'll keep things rolling.
Okay.
So, Bruce,
Thank you again, and thank all
Great
of you.
cause. Okay. So, one of my biggest, most rewarding aspects of the show is being able to include our future generation and the younger enthusiasts. And a lot of people see the cars and they see all the beautiful, fully restored cars, and then they see a row of cars down the center and they wonder why they're here, because some of them aren't shiny. Although this year, several of them are very shiny. Do we have our future generation car owners? Would you come up and come right across the front for me here, please? How many of you saw the Future Generation panel discussions? What an inspiration. I mean, most of the... Okay. So most of the people that you see in front of you here, and some of them are still coming up, I've met through various places. This young lady I met at Bloomington Gold. Met this gentleman on Power Tour when Ian and I were on Power Tour. These two guys right here I know from my old World of Wheels Autorama days because their dad was showing a beautiful, beautiful Mustang. When I first met them, they weren't even born yet. And, you know, going down the line, it's, to me, some of the most inspiring things because people are constantly telling me that, oh, what are you going to do when all these kids, you know, these kids don't like these cars, blah, blah, blah. And it's like I'm always looking for younger enthusiasts. And if you saw the panel discussions, you know that there is future in this. So to help inspire that, Mr. Phil Stoll just did a wonderful, wonderful thing, which is he came up and put together beautiful tool sets arranged through various sponsors, but led by him. Phil happens to be one of our participants' grandfather. every one of our 16 car owners that joined us all went home with a full, beautiful Craftsman tool set. So we want to acknowledge Phil. I don't know where you are, but he spent the whole year working with sponsors and heading up so that each and every one of the participants that are with us this year go home with a beautiful tool set. In addition to that, Dave and Kelly Molnar several years ago, which are good friends of mine from Dallas area, they saw what I was doing. They wanted to help. So about 3 years ago, they decided that they would purchase a full Lincoln Electric welding set, which is up here on the table. Includes the welder. It has a cart. It has the helmet. It has the gloves. So it's a turnkey welding set. And they asked us to find somebody that is willing and able, that's really exemplifies the future of the hobby. And this year, they were unable to come. He's a commercial pilot, and as everybody knows, with all the issues that were going on, his schedules got kind of screwed up. So anyway, thanks to Dave and Kelly Molnar for donating this to the cause. Now, I had so much trouble deciding who should be the recipient because everybody was willing, was worthy of it. So I asked our winners from last year to help me out, and I'm going to let them tell us who's going to go home with a full Miller welding set. Oh, and that was the other thing. We asked the previous year's winner to create a special award to present to the new winner. So I'm going to hand you to the mic.
All right, all right, all right. Our winner is Jackson.
Woo. So just real quick, Jackson, tell us what you have.
So I have the 1964 Chevrolet C10, the bright green Slam truck over there. It's been my truck since I was 9 years old. It was a 7-year rebuild with my dad, and we just recently got it on the road here in June, and we've been putting as many miles on it as we can.
Let's give a hand to our future. Okay, we're ready. We're going to move on to the next. Thank you all so much. Keep working on those cars and trucks. Okay, now we're going to dive into the meat of the program.
I'd like to...
Wait.
I'm sorry.
Give this lady a hand. I always say, I have the glory, she does the work.
I have a great team.
Remember to say it.
I have a great team. And they do the work. So I'd like to honor them. I usually do the awards, and it's long, and you get tired of my voice, and I get tired of my voice. And we had somebody on staff this year who a lot of you may have met if you were in Zone 4, which is where the Triple Diamond Corvette Gallery is. And his name is Seth Degenhart. Probably I pronounced that wrong. I apologize if I did. And he just graduated with his broadcasting degree. And I got the idea that maybe it would be nice if you didn't have to hear my voice all night long. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Seth, and then I'm going to bring him up. He's 22 years old.
One of our past future generation participants with his Gremlin.
He's been here with cars, and he has been such a huge asset to MCACN, I can't tell you. And we appreciate him, and we're anxious to use him in ever more ways. So please welcome Seth, and he's going to start reading your awards for you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get these awards started, I would like to thank
This wasn't planned. So the police department just came over and let me know, if you're parked outside of any of the back doors, you gotta go move your car. Tow trucks are on the way. So back doors can't be parked anywhere out there. So sidewalk, driveways, in front of the loading docks, cannot be out there. So if you are, hop up and go move it.
Thank you, Ian. Anyways, before we get these awards started, I'd like to thank Mr. Bob Ashton for the opportunity to announce these awards today, and for the opportunity that he has given me and a lot of other people of my generation to be a part of this hobby and to get started and to enjoy cars just like everybody else. All right, so let's get it started with these awards. Our first class, the White Ribbon Super Street. Brian Myers with a 1972 Dodge Challenger Rally. All right, Red Ribbon Super Street vehicles. Don and Ginny Berg with a 1958 Studebaker Packard Hawk. Jeffrey Bundy with a 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass Rally 350.
So that everybody knows, because we have so many awards and you guys don't want to be here till midnight, we really shoot to be right on target on the end. So instead, hold the applause until the end, and every once in a while when the ladies get backed up, I'm going to interrupt and tell you a bunch of stuff that you may or may not want to hear so that they can get caught up, and then we'll jump back in. So hold the applause, and at the end, when I start blabbing, you can applaud over the top of me so you don't have to listen to me, but that way we'll be able to get this thing ended on time.
Keep it going with the red ribbons. We have Elliot and Terry Eck with a 1973 Pontiac Grand Am 455. Gary Gerstner with a 1987 Buick Grand National. Ed Corzon with a 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass 442 Tribute. Our blue ribbon Super Street vehicles. TLC...
You can slow down a little bit.
A little bit? Got it.
So,
Each one. No, you're good.
okay, you're good.
Blue ribbon
Green light.
vehicles. TLC Restorations with a 1958 Chevrolet Apache. TLC Restorations with a 1974 C10 Chevrolet Restomod. Chet Agabidi with a 1967 Chevrolet Chevelle. Lisa Ballinger with a 1966 Ford Bronco U15 wagon. Steve Bardo with a 1969 Plymouth GTX. Brian Bilski with a 1968 Chevrolet Camaro. Hank Benuti, 1968 Dodge Charger. Michael and Patricia Borowak with a 2007 Ford Mustang GT Regency Edition. Peter Brock with a 1963 Chevrolet Corvette Studio Concept Z06. Jeff Clark with a 1988 Chevrolet Camaro IROC Z28. Bill Callipy with a 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air. Jamie Cooper with a 1967 Ford Fairlane 427 single overhead cam. John and Caroline Delchin with a 1972 AMC Gremlin X. Joe DiGiovanni with a 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle. Dino DiPaolo with a 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner. Brad Essing with a 1974 Plymouth Roadrunner. Tony Fudge with a 1970 Buick GS Stage 1. Eric Gardner with a 1970 Plymouth AAR Cuda. Jim Gallwitzer with a 1965 Chevrolet Chevelle. Gloria and Robert Gurkis with their 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS. Bob and Ryan Henschel with a 1970 Buick GS 455 Stage 1. Tamara Hausman, 1956 Chevrolet Nomad. Kelly Jabuin, 1964 Chevrolet Impala SS 409. Ricky and Cameron Napick with a 1968 Ford Mustang GT California Special. Scott Kozlowski, 1968 Dodge Charger RT. Charlie Lillard, 1967 Chevrolet Camaro. Eugene Luco, 1965 Belvedere A990 Tribute. Eugene Lukow, 1965 Belvedere 2 Stage 3 Max Wedge Tribute Car. Steve McDonald, 1966 Shelby GT 350 Hertz rental car.
Hang on just a minute. Hey.
Yes, sir.
Hey there, Mr. Brock. Come here, come here, come here. Peter. I think most of you know who this gentleman is. This is Mr. Peter Brock. And we're going to talk about shameless plugs here, like my son did. Peter and I were in the office talking, and he gave me just a wonderful, wonderful review. So I'm going to hand you this microphone and ask you if you would repeat parts of our conversation.
I just want to tell Bob that what you see here is passion. That's what really makes this show go, and you see it in every bit of every car that's here. This is the best show in the country. So love coming here. It just doesn't get any better because you see the best American automotive art that ever existed, and to see it here in perfect condition is really an honor. So thank you, Bob, for making and creating this show.
You know, when Drew Harden dubbed us the Pebble Beach of muscle cars in Muscle Car Review, that was a proud moment, and that's another.
Let's continue with our Blue Ribbon Awards. Jim Meisner, 1964 Plymouth Fury Max Wedge Tribute. Brian Myers, 1969 Ford Mustang. John Otto, 1970 Oldsmobile W31 Cutlass. Roger and Chris Parlett with a 1968 Ford Mustang Cobra Jet 135 Series. Lee Quinones, 1965 Dodge Coronet. Rob Ramage, 1965 Ford Mustang. Jennifer Reed, 1969 Dodge Charger White Hat Special. Wayne Schmeckley, 1972 Ford Courier. Peter Siegel, 1967 Plymouth
section.
GTX.
I love it.
1967 Plymouth GTX Tommy Boy car. Jay Scuttle, 1986 Buick Grand National. Ryan Snyder, 1941 Willys Custom. Dan Sweetland, 1970 AMC AMX. Robert Wagenhals, 1970 Plymouth Barracuda. Sean Ward, 1970 Dodge Challenger. James White, 1971 Chevrolet Chevrolet Corvette for that matter. Jan Wilkins, 1969 Chevrolet Corvette. Larry Wilmot, 1969 Ford Mustang. Cole Wittern, 1967 Chevrolet Corvette Resto Mod. Cole Wittern, 1967 Chevrolet Corvette. Jim and Darlene Woodard, 1969 Oldsmobile 442. Bill Yone, 1964 Chevrolet Chevelle. George Young, 1965 Ford Falcon. And that concludes our Blue Ribbon Super Street vehicles.
Okay, let me jump in. We got a request from Ian that when you come in from this side. Makes the flow a little bit easier. We can. So, yeah, and that's the other thing. Your judging sheets are with your award. So when you want to see your judging sheets, they're inside your certificate for the concours and Day 2 awards, and are in your pack with your Super Street and other awards. So, anyway, we'll keep right on rolling. Yeah, do it.
Let's start off our silver period correct concourse. Dave Bombard, 1965 Plymouth Belvedere A990. Brandon Hall, 1965 Chevrolet Chevelle Copo L79. That concludes our silver period correct concourse. Now on to our 3-star correct concourse. Robert Aguilera, a 1965 Dodge Coronet A990. Jamie Cooper, 1967 Chevrolet Schmitz Race Camaro. Dennis and Starlette Cyrus, 1967 Chevrolet Chevelle L78. Nino Lochiro, 1965 Pontiac GTO. Ronald Makovich, 1967 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. Jim McMillan, 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. Phil Mitchell, 1969 Chevrolet Baldwin Motion Camaro. Phil Mitchell, 1969 Chevrolet Yanko 427 Nova.
Former barn find returned to better than new glory.
And it is quite beautiful over there. You should go check it out. Jim and Laura Nagy, 1970 Chevrolet Yanko Deuce. Mick Price with a 1969 Chevrolet Yanko Camaro. Jeff Pruzanowski with a 1962 Dodge Dart.
I want to apologize because the names on these reports are not right, so poor Seth is trying to figure out what I meant. So I apologize for that. He's doing an amazing job.
Is this one?
Yes, that's correct. So-
All right, let's start on our bronze concourse vehicles. Lonnie Clark, a 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner. Michael and Paul John Ferry, 1965 Pontiac Bonneville. Steve Geiger, 1960.
Cut. So this will be one of those times when I get throw out all that boring trivia. So a lot of people asking me how many cars are in the building. It'll be the first year that I will honestly tell you too many. We thank all of you for allowing me to jam too many cars into this building. Fortunately, the fire marshal also was able to agree to allow me to have this many cars in the building. The number I heard, the last final tally I heard, I believe was 636. For those of you asking how that compares to last year, I think we were around 540 last year, so close to 100 more cars. I will honestly say we will not have 640 cars in the show. It was bigger than a giant puzzle. It worked out, but as you guys all saw, there were some challenges that came up. And when I worked for another company doing other shows, I did shows throughout the country in Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, all over the United States. And every show, we always booked 10% over because there was at least 10% cancellations at every single show in every city for the 7 years that I worked there. So that's how I started doing business here. We had maybe 5 cancels for this year, and I think last year was about the same. So I got to get out of that habit of overbooking the show. So anyway, that's one.
And before we carry on, I'd like to thank all of you guys who brought cars here for your cooperation and your understanding during move-in. Because yes, it definitely was an interesting journey, but I thank you all for your patience, and it turned out pretty good. I think we could all agree. All right, continuing on with bronze concourse vehicles. Steve Geiger, 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454. Mike Jackson, 1970 Buick Skylark GS Stage 1. Gordon Milford, 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 RS. And that concludes our bronze concourse vehicles.
Yeah.
Let's start off our silver concourse vehicles. Trevor Badgley with a 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30. Trevor Badgley with a 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30. I hope those are 2 separate vehicles. Kevin Beswick, 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda. Charlie Campbell, 1986 Pontiac Grand Prix 2+2. Michael and Paul John Ferry, 1965 Pontiac Catalina 2+2. Phil Heindel, 1968 Shelby GT 500. Joe Jordan, 1968 Plymouth GTX. Joe Jordan, 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner. Kevin Kuipers, 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner 446. Joseph Kalpich, 1966 Plymouth 426 Hemi Satellite. Lenny Napoli, 1964 Pontiac Banshee Prototype XP 833.
Okay, mark that as a whole. I have a couple of gentlemen talking about our future generation participants. I've got a couple of guys. If you guys could come around front here. Where'd you go? So, to kind of tell you some of the camaraderie and support that these guys share, I know here's a couple guys that met here at the show several years ago. This gentleman here I met at the Mopar Nationals, I believe it was. Is that right? Is that where we first connected? And I think at that time you were 14. And he's got a 68 Coronet, 70 Coronet. And I invited him to come out to the show, and unfortunately that car, he had a recent accident, so it's going to have to be resurrected, and I understand it will be. But he met Anthony at our show, and I think might have been our first future generation gathering. And by the way, this is Mr. Phil Stahl that I was talking, Dan Stahl. Phil's the son, actually, generations. He's the gentleman responsible for getting all of our future generation participants awesome toolkits. His grandson, Anthony, or as we call him, Tony Jenkins. And I'm going to hand the phone over to you, and you can tell us what you're doing here.
Tony, me and the rest of the group are just super appreciative of what you and your grandpa do for the future of the hobby. He went out of his way to get a bunch of sponsors, and we got tools and shirts and all kinds of cool stuff. And last year he donated money to a couple of kids to help just fund their projects. And just as a little token of appreciation for all that you two do, We got you a little stomach gift card to pick towards your own projects for a change.
That's the future. Thank you, guys. Inspiration.
Back with our silver concourse vehicles. Ronald Novi, 1967 Pontiac Tempest Sprint Overhead Cam 6. Ajesh Parikh, 1970 Buick Stage 1 455. David Plummer, 1969 Pontiac 2+2. Luther Randall, 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass W31. Carl Rossi, 1970 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS 454. Larry Sachs, 1962 Chevrolet Corvette. Dennis and Rose Sherman, 1965 Chevrolet Impala SS Survivor L78. Robert Segrist, 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30. Bob and Deborah Smith, 1970 Buick GS 455. Jonathan Tasca, 1965 Pontiac GTO. Brett Watson, 1959 Buick Invicta. And Jerry Wilson, 1970 Oldsmobile W33 Delta 88. And that concludes our silver concourse vehicles. Let's get started with our gold concourse vehicles. Now, this might take a bit because all of these
This is
amazing.
a long one.
This is a long one because all y'all's cars are amazing and have been awarded these gold concourse certificates and
All
awards.
y'alls?
All y'all.
They teach you that in broadcasting school?
Yes.
Just wondering.
All right. Scott Allen, 1968 Pontiac Firebird 400 Ram Air 2. Keith Anderson, 1970 Ford Mustang Super Cobra Jet Sports Roof. Dave Arendt, 1970 Dodge Challenger RT. Mark and Janice Bauer, 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454 LS6. Jerry Bernard, 1963 Buick LeSabre 425. Joe Bianchini, 1963 Plymouth Savoy Max Wedge. Marcus Blackstone, 1973 Chevrolet Camaro. Matt Brown, 1973 Pontiac Super Duty Trans Am. Ron Bruns, 1967 Dodge Coronet RT. John Bush, 1978 Pontiac Trans Am Y84. Roger Klaus, 1972 Pontiac GTO. Roger Klaus, 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge. The Styles Collection, 1967 Shelby GT 500. Brian Corbett, 1969 Chevrolet Nova L78. Brian Council, 1971 Ford Boss 351. Mike Culkin, 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30. Johnny Dalton, 1965 Ford Shelby Mustang GT 350. Daryl Davidson, 1971 Pontiac GTO Judge. Kevin DeWitt, 1967 Mercury Comet Cyclone. Drew Damacchio, 1963 Chevrolet Impala SS. Brian and Jackie Dome, 1970 Mercury Cyclone Spoiler. Glenn Eller, 1969 Chevrolet Camaro RS Z28. John Erickson, 1971 Plymouth Hemi-Cuda. Chad Estes, 1969 Dodge A12 Super Bee Mr. Norms Edition. Craig Foster, 1969 Oldsmobile 442. Steve Fox, 1970 Mercury Cougar Super Cobra Jet 428.
I'm going to cut in here. Is Mr. Wayne Schmeckley here? Wayne? Shelby Hall, would you be in the building? Wait, is Wayne here? Wave. Is Wayne here, yes or no? Wayne's on the jet? Okay. Why don't you two come up here and we have a little something special for Wayne, and you can be Wayne for us for a minute.
Sounds good.
Okay. While they're all walking up here, we'll knock a few more out because we have so many.
Mike Gunder, 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. Greg Hansen, 1970 Buick GS Stage 1. Richard Hunter, 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454. Paul Iantosca, 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30. Paul Jacobs, 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner. Mike Jevning, 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge. Joe Jordan, 1970 Plymouth Superbird. Dan and Mary Jo Keel, 1965 Shelby GT350, number 341. Paul Kilker, 1965 Pontiac GTO. Dave Knutson, 1970 Buick GS 455.
Mr. Jordan, after he hands you his award, I'd like you to come up on the stage if you'd come up to the side here. This is my friend, Mr. Joe Jordan from Wisconsin. And you may not recognize that. Some of you in the Mopar world definitely recognize that name. Joe's been a supporter of what I do for quite a few years, and he has some absolutely stunning cars here this year, over the top. In fact, he has several of the B-body Hemi convertibles in our red carpet display. He has a 1970 Superbird in our class of 70. He has a recently acquired 446 barrel Roadrunner convertible in our barn finds, which I understand is going to be coming back as an unveiling car. Congratulations. They unveiled the 70 Roadrunner, which is our cover and poster car. And what I'm leading up to is that every year we like to acknowledge the extra effort and the support that you give us not only this year, but for many years. We are naming Joe our 2025 Enthusiast of the Year. So please give Joe a support. This guy goes above and beyond. In fact, he had I even forgot one of the cars that I roped him into bringing for our Spring Fever display. Joe has the only known Sassy Grass 70 Roadrunner that is in existence, and Dan, who coordinated that display, said, I know where there's one, but you already got him bringing a bunch of cars, and I was on edge as to whether I should even ask, and I thought, what the heck, I'm going to ask him, and I mentioned it, and didn't hesitate. He said, no problem, Bob, we'll have it there. So and again, not just this year, but for years now, you've been a huge supporter, and again, like I always say to people, you make me look good, so thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Michael LeBrecq, 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner. David Lebise, 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. Patricia and Darwin Ludi, 1963 Chevrolet Corvette. Gerald McCary, 1965 Plymouth Belvedere A990. Eric McGaney, 1964 Ford Galaxy 500. Justin Manweiler, 1967 Shelby GT 500. Paul Martin, 1971 Oldsmobile 442 W30. Jim Madison, 1965 Pontiac GTO Tri-Power.
And even though I asked Paul to sing the Canadian National Anthem for me, he turned me down. I think that's the first time you've ever turned me down for anything. I was really disappointed. Thank you.
Brent Meyer, 1965 Chevrolet Corvette. Angela Miklos, 1969 Ford Torino GT. Unveiling car, as Ian just said. Robin and Jeff Miller, 1970 Buick GS Stage 1. Robert Mills IV with 1969 Chevrolet Camaro SS RS. Now I'm going to read out the next 5 cars here. They are all owned by the same individual. Phil Mitchell with a 1965 Ford Shelby GT350, a 1969 Pontiac GTO,
Unveiling car.
1967 Pontiac GTO,
Unveiling car.
1971 Plymouth Cuda,
Unveiling car.
and a 1970 Plymouth GTX.
And another unveiling car. His unveiling cars were restored by Mopars by Apex, which is one of our premium sponsors, and his Firebirds and the Chevys, the Nova and the Yenko Nova and my brain's fried. The 2 Chevys were restored by Level 1. Another one of our premier sponsors.
Richard Morgante, 1969 Chevrolet Z28 Camaro. Joe Munoz, 1977 Pontiac Trans Am W72. Mark Obenor, 1965 Dodge Dart 270. Ajesh Parikh, 1970 Buick GS Stage 1.
Jesh also happens to be the gentleman who puts together our incredible Buick displays and every year raises the bar.
Phil Patterson, 1969 Pontiac Firebird. Deborah Powell, 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge. Joe Pratt, 1970 Buick GSX. Jason Ramsey, 1965 Oldsmobile F85 Club Coupe 442. These next two cars are by TLC Restorations, a 1968 Chevrolet Camaro RS SS and a 1974 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. Shane Ray, 2010 Ford Mustang. Steve Rhodes, 1970 Pontiac Oldsmobile 442 W30. Jim Romag, 1969 Chevrolet Copo Camaro. Jim Ryan, 1969 Dodge Daytona. Larry Sachs, 1967 Chevrolet Corvette. Sanford and Lucy Ann Sockleben, 1970 Mercury Cougar XR7 428 Cobra Jet. Jeff Sush, 1966 Chevrolet Biscayne 427 425 horse L72. Lloyd Shawver, 1969 Oldsmobile Hearst. Greg Smith, 1971 Oldsmobile 442 W30.
Okay, time for me to let you hear somebody other than us. Shelby Hall. Hopefully most of you had the opportunity to check out the Shelby Hall, or Rod Hall heritage display that was put together by this very lovely young lady that I have the honor of knowing, Mrs. Shelby Hall. Can you guys give her a hand? Now, you and I have known Wayne a long time. So we give an award that we present to a person that is a huge supporter of the hobby, not just MCACN, but the hobby in so many different ways. Wayne and I go back, I believe he's been a participant since we started the show in 2009. Has shown just a laundry list of beautiful cars and trucks, brought some new elements to the show. He and Shelby and the team are responsible for the beautiful display right behind us. And I know that she can tell you about Wayne better than I can, not because I don't know him, but because she's working closely with him right now, and she's a far better speaker than I could ever dream of being. So we're going to be presenting the Living Legend Award to Wayne. He had to fly out, so Shelby, just give us a summary of Wayne and who he is.
Man, no pressure. So I got to meet quite a few of you in our booth and during our panels, but I'm Shelby Hall. This is Brady Moline, and we are here with Shelby Hall Off-Road and Wayne Schmeckley. And we have a beautiful display, really, that's honoring my grandfather, Rod Hall, and my family legacy. And the thing about it is, none of that would be possible without Wayne. I have had the honor to work with Wayne over the last few years, and not only has he become a fatherly figure, a dear friend, but he's enabled me to learn more about my own family than I have learned. Putting this display together, I had the opportunity to do a bunch of research and really learn why these vehicles have so much importance in the motorsports industry, not just off-road. And honestly, that's because Wayne gifted us this opportunity. He is our partner in our race team, and he believes in passion, and he loves history. He loves preserving history, sharing history, and creating history. So nobody deserves this more than Wayne.
Thank you, Shelby, and thank you for all the work you guys did. Brady, I mean, it's just, if you didn't see that display before it comes down, you need to see it. It's amazing. And as I say, not only that, but Wayne, those of you who've been with us for years have seen so many of his cars and trucks. Just unbelievable, and we really appreciate his support. And we love you guys too, obviously. Thank you.
Love you too.
These next two vehicles are owned by Harry Snow III, 1970 Buick GS Stage 1 and a 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass W31. Next two cars are owned by Michael and Prona Sobotka, 1970 Buick Stage 1 and another 1970 Buick Stage 1. Joe Stefanacci, 1965 Chevrolet Malibu SS L79. Alan Steinbach, 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30. Michael Steitz, 1970 Chevrolet Camaro. Eric Taylor, 1970 Buick GS 455 Stage 1. John Thayer, 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner. Bill Wenty, 1967 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu L79. Sky Westfall, 1982 Chevrolet Collector's Edition Corvette.
Congratulations, Sky. Let's give a hand to this young lady. And Sky, I'm going to hold you up too. So, Sky, come back here. So, if any of you are wondering if this young lady really is a car girl, I'm going to let her tell a little bit about her, your car, and maybe a little bit about how you got into the hobby.
So, I typically live with my grandparents most of the time. They're really into cars, I tell you. My grandma has a Corvette C8. My grandfather has a Corvette C3. And so, they go to a bunch of car shows. They go with them a bunch, since I'm with them a lot. And so, when my grandfather sees this 1982 Corvette C3 Collector's Edition on the marketplace, he decides that he needs this car. He just needs it. The thing is, my grandmother tells him he can't have any more cars. So next thing he does, he goes to look at the car, he buys the car, and puts it in my name instead.
You are awesome. And if anybody wants to know any statistics about Corvettes, go see Sky. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody wonder anything? Okay, I think it questions a lot of people. How much space do we fill? We filled just shy of 400,000 square feet. As I said, I think it was 638 or something was our car count. What are we doing next year? Well, of course, we have anniversary displays, as we always do, so we go into the class of 1971. I can tell you there's going to be something over the top that's related to Boss Mustangs. There will be something over the top related to wing cars. And we're going to jump back into the awards.
I've got a question though. What do you do as a day job? Does everybody know this is his full-time job?
Contrary to popular belief, I do work more than one day or 1 week on this show.
Back in with the gold concourse vehicles. Opie and Sue Willis, 1968 Shelby KR 500. Bill Westner, 1970 Dodge Charger RT SE. Now, I'm going to apologize to this gentleman here for butchering his last name. Peter Wajowitz, 1967 Shelby GT 350 Hertz rental car. And that concludes our Gold Concourse vehicle exhibitors. Let's give all those car owners and cars a big round of applause.
As we get ready for this is a reminder, some of you know who have been with us over the years, we have our Platinum and our Emerald Awards, which are considered to be Best of Show Awards. If you are a gold level or top level award winner, you are eligible for those awards. They aren't necessarily based on the total point score of the cars. They're a collective Judge's Choice Award taken from the very, very best of the cars in each of the categories. So in other words, if you scored a 987 and your neighbor scored a 989, the guy with the 987 might get the Platinum or the Emerald Award because it's a collective group where they kind of start with a clean slate and a group of select our best judges come up with those winners. So if you know you are a high scoring individual award winner, you might want to hang out to the very end. Those are the last awards that we present.
Let's get into our Triple Diamond exhibitors. Dana Anderson, 1992 Chevrolet Corvette. Bill Braun, 1963 Corvette. Jeremy Bergmeyer, 1969 Corvette. Michael Siofi, 1967 Corvette. Bob and Dottie Connolly, 1967 Corvette. Clark and Ann Curley, 1962 Corvette. Steve Erickson, 1963 Corvette. Daryl Falkenberg, 1968 Corvette.
Seth hasn't traditionally been, well, I don't want to say you didn't like Corvettes, but I would say that wouldn't be your primary interest, but he has learned to appreciate Corvettes by being the person who parked all of the Corvettes this year that were in the Triple Diamond area.
Bob Flanagan, 1962 Corvette. Ron Froman, 1963 Corvette.
Triple Diamond Award winners also get the Gold Concourse Award, so they do, yes. So what the Triple Diamond is, for those who aren't familiar with it, Triple Diamond requires that you first achieve NCRS Top Flight status and Bloomington Gold. Then as a third step, you come in and get your Concours, MCACN Concours, and then go on to earn the Triple Diamond Award. So when you're looking at the Triple Diamond Award winners, those are truly the best of the best in the Corvette world.
I wasn't listening to what they were saying, so if you were one of the names that just got called for Triple Diamond and you only got one box, come back up, because there's another one for you.
We're gonna trust it.
I'm not sure if I announced this already. Bob Flanagan, 1962 Corvette. Ron Froman, 1963 Corvette. Ronnie Garabet II, 1969 Corvette. These two Corvettes are both owned by Anthony Gerasi, 1969, and a 1966 Corvette. Brad Hillhouse, 1975 Corvette. Greg Horton, 1965 Corvette. Richard Hurd, 1963 Corvette. Dan and Mary Jo Keel, 1964 Chevrolet Corvette. Alan Lee, 1967 Chevrolet Corvette. Kevin McKay, 1967 Corvette. Wayne Mackey, 1967 Chevrolet Corvette.
So the line's getting a little long here. If you wonder why I talk like I can hardly talk, I think I'm on like 39 hours with no sleep. So I usually, not that I'm any kind of public speaker, but I'm stumbling over my words and my throat's dry. I'm just trying to make excuses. But let me just say thank you to, first of all, my crew and my wife, who most of the time puts up with me. I can guarantee you he's been ready to kill me many times, deservedly so. But again, our crew, I'm really, really proud of our crew, both inside and out, because they do make me look good and they bust their butts. I mean, inside, and not just the people that are working here at the show, but Cindy and Diane. Hopefully you met some of them. Those who work back in our home office with Vicki, and we have a tremendous crew, we really do. They care, it makes a difference. So.
All right, let's get back into these triple diamonds. The next two we have here are both owned by William McCown, a 1963 Chevrolet Corvette and a 1967 Chevrolet Corvette. Steve McWhirter, 1966 Chevrolet Corvette. Tim Mickey, 1960 Chevrolet Corvette. Andre and Julianne Montgomery, 1967 Chevrolet Corvette. Daniel Payne, 1967 Chevrolet Corvette. Michael Pekalunas, 1965 Chevrolet Corvette. Bob Richardson, 1965 Chevrolet Corvette. David Rogers, 1965 Chevrolet Corvette. Lisa Rose with a 2003 Chevrolet Corvette. Fred Rutherford, 1967 Chevrolet Corvette.
Oh, you're fine. Hey, congratulations.
These next 5 vehicles are all owned by Larry Sachs. 4 1967 Chevrolet Corvettes, count them 4, and a 1963 Chevrolet Corvette. Richard Schultz, 1956 Chevrolet Corvette. John Sesciano, 1963 Chevrolet Corvette. Valerie and Jimmy Sheehan, 1953 Chevrolet Corvette. Frank Steck, 1966 Chevrolet Corvette. Robert Sugar, 1977 Chevrolet Corvette. Robert C. Wallach Sr., 1981 Chevrolet Corvette. John Wellingkamp, with 2 vehicles, a 1967 Chevrolet Corvette and a 1972 Chevrolet Corvette. Keeping it in the same family, Rodney Wellenkamp with a 1975 Corvette. And rounding out our Triple Diamond exhibitors, Edward Wadikanowski with a 1989 Chevrolet Corvette. And that concludes our Triple Diamond vehicles. Give all these gentlemen and vehicles a huge round of applause.
Okay, let them get caught up a little bit. Couple other things people ask about. I think I might have said we have contestants from 42 different states. That includes Hawaii, Montana, well, 42 states. I should, if I knew the 8 we were missing. I know we don't have an Alaska car this year. We have in the past, but 42 states, 4 provinces of Canada: Calgary, Alberta, Manitoba. It's pretty amazing. I know I talked to one of our Maple Leaf Muscle participants who brought 2 cars in, towed them himself on a 48-foot trailer. I think he told me it was 26 hours on the road. So it's like, wow, you know. And we know, even with that being said, we thank everybody who comes, whether you're coming from Chicago or coming from Calgary, or we know how much effort it takes, and we appreciate that. I've shown cars, not of this level, but I've shown cars. I've been a vendor. I've been a sponsor of various things. So we know it takes a lot of effort. So I just want to express my appreciation for what all of you do to allow me to live my dream.
Let's continue on with our Pinnacle Certification Mustangs. Harold Davis. Finley Ledbetter. John Serku. And Bob Perkins. Your red folders are right up here. Congratulations to those 4 gentlemen.
So Pinnacle is similar in criteria to our Triple Diamond, which requires several top-level awards in the Mustang and Shelby world before eligibility for the Pinnacle. So again, they're looking at the very best of the best.
Let's start off with our Camaro Legends, first generation. Eric Lindstad with a 1968 RS SS. Bruce Eilenberger, 1967 Yanko. Verlin Hale, 1969 Hugger Orange Copo. Jim Romage, 1969 Le Mans Blue Copo. That last one being a 99.8% platinum. Gold.
Okay, so what we found out is for Camaro Legends, which again, this is similar to what I was talking about with Pinnacle and Triple Diamond. That requires previous certification at the top level before eligibility for Corvette Legends. So our Camaro Legends Award winners, our judging team there gave us this. They did not give us their awards, so their awards will be mailed to them.
Let's continue on with our vintage certification vehicles. These are in year order based on vehicle, oldest vehicle to newest vehicle. Actually, no, I lied. They're just in a random order. Time Capsule, 1964 Galaxy 390, Rick Schmidt, with a 99.7%. A 1969 Boss 429 Mustang, Alex Merman, a 96.7% Legend. 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cuda, owned by Wade Ogle, an 86.5% Legacy. 1971 LS6 Corvette, Jim Anderson, a time capsule 98.2%. Sorry, the print is quite small on here. John Milota with a 1970 Z28, 96.4% Legend. 1965 GTO convertible tri-power 4-speed, Dave DeSimone, Reference. 1966 Pontiac Tempest 4-door overhead cam, Bill Thiele, time capsule with a 99.5%. 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge, Roger Stevens is the owner and as a reference level. 1970 Buick GSX, owned by Joe Spagnuli, with a legacy 88.9%. 1963 Galaxy 500 XL, owned by Phil Mitchell, time capsule, with a 99.0%. 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner A12, John Troxel, with a legacy 88.5%. 1975 Corvette, owned by Rodney Wellenkamp, with a legacy level of an 87.9%. And a 1978 Pontiac Trans Am, owned by Gary Riley, with a 97.8% legend level. Let's give a big round of applause to our vintage certification and to our vintage certification staff who judged those vehicles starting on Friday all the way up until the show. They did their meticulous work. It is amazing watching those judges work. It's crazy the little things that they point out.
It's a learning experience. Anybody who's those could definitely be considered reference material for anybody doing restoration, because that's how they really built it. And we apologize because they forgot to give us the awards. And my understanding is our team leaders there for both Camaro Legends and Vintage are somewhere on a plane. So I'm going to blame them and throw them under the bus on that one. But we love them anyway.
All right, let's get into our Emerald Awards and First Time Show Awards. Emerald AMC, First Time Shown, Dan Sweetland, 1970 AMX.
Hang on just a minute. Vicky's going to explain these. They need a little explanation.
So these cars are being shown for the first time within 200 miles of Chicago. So we call them the Emerald First Time Shown. So either one applies. You can say Emerald Awards or First Time Shown Awards. So congratulations. He's going to read who they are. These cars are usually all the unveiling cars that have never been, oh, maybe not. Okay, I'll be quiet.
They're always among the highest scoring cars in their category. And as I explained earlier, not necessarily the point total. The reason we do it that way is because we know, like I used a reference point, say we have a group of judges and there's two judges and one of them absolutely hates the color brown and he loves red. Well, we know because there's a human element involved, even if the cars at that level are so premium, he might just lean to the red car because it's a little prettier. So when all those top scoring judges come together, we ask a collective team of additional judges to come in to rejudge with a clean sheet to see what rises to the top, hopefully without any bias towards color or preference. So that's why there is a possibility a 996 could beat a 999 for the Platinum and the Emeralds.
All right. Emerald Buick, Tony Fudge. Emerald Chevrolet, Jim Romag, 1969 Chevrolet Camaro. Emerald Corvette, Peter Brock with a 1963 Chevrolet Corvette. Emerald Day 2 Chevy, Wayne Carini with a 2025 Ford Mustang GTD 350. Emerald Dodge, Lee Quinones, 1965 Dodge Coronet. Emerald Oldsmobile, John Otto, 1970 Oldsmobile W31 Cutlass. Emerald Plymouth, Phil Mitchell, 1971 Plymouth Cuda. Emerald Ford, George Young, 1965 Ford Falcon.
George Young? Really? Is George Young here? If there's anybody here that would ever think that they did not deserve that award, it's George Young. That was a car, one of our unveiling cars, the Falcon Gasser. George restored that car himself. George has been showing many cars over the years. He might be one of the most humble guys that can produce a premium restored car. And he's a Mopar guy, and that's a Ford, so it's pretty impressive. I know he's not here because he probably thinks there's no chance in hell he would have ever won it, but he deserved it. He earned it.
Emerald Mercury, Brian and Jackie Dome, 1970 Mercury Cyclone. Emerald Pontiac, Scott Allen, 1968 Pontiac Firebird 400. Emerald Studebaker, Andy Piper, 1964 Studebaker Avanti. And those are our Emerald First Time Shown Award winners. Give them a big round of applause. Let's move on to our Platinum Awards. This is our Best of Show Awards.
And I believe this is our final category.
Yes, sir. After day 2.
Oh yeah, we're down to the final few pages.
All right, Best of Show Award. Oh, sorry.
Seth.
Yes.
Don't ever say best of show. Technical difficulties here, please remain. So what's going on up here? We found out that these are mistagged, but these awards are specific to their brand. So in other words, if you want an Emerald GM, that's what it says on the award, but the boxes got mixed up, so the award inside might be a Mopar one, which should have been a Ford one, that type of thing.
So if you walked away with one, open it up and make sure it matches the brand of car that you brought here. All right. We're 1 for 1 so far.
Okay, carry on.
Oh. So I would say don't read it if the brand doesn't match the brand.
All right. Our Platinum Pick Awards / Judges Choice Awards. Our Platinum Best Stock Chevrolet, Jamie Cooper with a 1967 Chevrolet Camaro. Our Best Modified Chevrolet, Bill Yohn, 1964 Chevrolet Chevelle. Our Platinum Corvette Stock, Valerie and Jimmy Sheehan, 1953 Corvette. Best Modified Corvette, Jan Wilkins, 1969 Chevrolet Corvette. Our Platinum Best Day 2 General Motors, Jim and Laura Nagy, 1970 Chevrolet Nova. Platinum Best AMC, John and Caroline Delchin, 1972 AMC Gremlin X. Platinum Best Buick, Jerry Bernard, 1963 Buick LeSabre. Platinum Best Stock Dodge, Dave Arendt, 1970 Dodge Challenger RT. Best Modified Dodge, Jennifer Reed, 1969 Dodge Charger. Best Stock Plymouth, Paul Jacobs, 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner. Best Modified Plymouth, Peter Siegel, 1967 Plymouth GTX Tommy Boy car. Best Oldsmobile, Jason Ramsey, 1965 Oldsmobile F85 Club Coupe 442. Best Stock Ford, Angela Miklos, 1969 Ford Torino GT. Best Modified form, Wayne Schmeckley, 1972 Ford Courier Truck. Best Mercury, Kevin DeWitt, 1967 Mercury Comet Cyclone. Best Stock Pontiac, Nino Lochiro, 1965 Pontiac GTO. Lachurco. Apologies. Best Modified Pontiac, Randy Michael, 1962 Pontiac Catalina. And our best Studebaker, Don and Ginny Berg with a 1958 Studebaker Hawk. That concludes our Emerald Awards and our Platinum Pick Awards. I'd like to thank everyone again for participating in this year's show. And I'd also like to thank all of those people that won our Celebrity Choice Awards and our Sponsor Awards and all of our other kind of miscellaneous specialty awards, because we gave out a lot of them because we had a lot of amazing cars. And again, we'd like to thank everybody for coming to the 2025 Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. You all have a good year and a good Thanksgiving.
Thanks to all of our prime, wonderful sponsors. We say we have the ability to work with the best of the best, which is an understatement, the best in the industry. Please support those who support us. Thanks again to all our staff, incredible crew. Thank you, Sky.
We're going to start clearing the floor. And please, again, don't move or start any cars until you hear an announcement. We have to clear the floor of spectators before we can do anything.